Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining the TestOut Network Pro 6.0 webinar entitled Network Plus Resources Just Got Better with TestOut Network Pro 6.0. Find out how it can supercharge your class. Just a quick housekeeping note before we get started. Please go ahead and put all questions in the chat. We will get to those in our Q&A section of the webinar, and thanks in advance for doing that. My name is Ian Palmer. I am a TestOut product manager. I'll be going over just a small portion of what is available for TestOut Network Pro. Craig will be joining us shortly to talk about additional features within Network Pro and the larger TestOut platform. Let's quickly talk about the purpose of Network Pro. Just a brief overview of Network Pro. We've provided lots of resources to students and teachers by providing a complete learning solution to assist in a full-featured course. This includes understandable instruction, hands-on labs, certificate preparation for CompTIA Plus or Network Plus, and employment preparation so students can enter the workforce with the knowledge and skills necessary to become assets to their companies. Let's talk about who benefits from this course. Teachers benefit for a number of different reasons, but we'll talk about three. The first reason is that it saves time. Grading is completely hands-off to the instructor and is integrated with your learning management system so that nothing needs to be imported. This avoids errors and unnecessary work. Teachers are given lesson prep materials which help enhance lessons. Network Pro is also full of lots of different types of course content which help drive home key information so that students can retain and apply knowledge in later chapters and eventually with the course exam. Network Pro is also reliable. Teachers appreciate that quizzes and lessons can be reset for students. Hands-on labs are easy to set up and grade, and all of this is done without extra effort on the instructor's part. I feel that the best part of TestOut Network Pro is that it allows teachers to pick and choose what they would like from TestOut. If you have a teacher who wants to keep the entire TestOut Network Pro course as it's laid out, they have the option to do that. Other teachers want to have the ability to pick and choose different lessons, demos, or hands-on lab in order to enhance the course that they've already created. Either option, or everything in between, is available for instructors through this course. Students also benefit from this course. Everybody learns just a little bit differently. At TestOut, we try and provide different resources in order to capture all different learning styles, including demos of commonly used industry tools, labs in order to help students get hands-on experience, and text lessons for students who prefer to read the material. Students are able to practice for exams through hundreds of different quiz questions, providing excellent preparation for passing end of chapter tests and the final exam. Students also have the ability to open up a browser and learn from anywhere. Our course is designed to work on different operating systems, including Chrome OS, Windows, and Mac. It's also always available so students can access the material at any time. They say that the best way to remember something is through repetition. We continue to refer back to key terms and knowledge in order to build on the foundation that will be successful for students throughout the course. This helps students not only understand key information, but why that information is important. This goes above and beyond what other courses might do in order to help students retain the information rather than just study, memorize, and write it down on the test. TestOut aims to provide students knowledge in order for them to feel comfortable to take the CompTIA Network and certification exam. This certification is designed to assess the learner's knowledge for recalling analysis questions. TestOut has devoted lots of time and effort into making our practice exam match the knowledge and skills needed in order for our students to have the confidence that they can pass the CompTIA Network Plus exam. TestOut also aims to provide students a Network Pro certification. This certification is designed to prepare the learner in the essential elements of a network computing environment. The exam is 100% performance-based, which is different than the CompTIA exam. We feel that performance-based exams help students apply knowledge and prove competency in real-world scenarios. Let's talk about what CompTIA is focusing on with their exam. CompTIA has just announced that their new Network Plus exam is already available starting on September 15th, 2021. The old exam will retire in June 2022. CompTIA has provided 4 different areas where they feel like the exam has changed significantly from version 7 to version 8. The first significant change is more focus on new and complex architectures. This includes technologies like the Internet of Things, software-defined networking, and new fiber optics and Cat8 cabling standards. These technologies are all included in Network Pro. CompTIA has put extra focus on cloud computing as something emerging in the industry. This includes elasticity, scalability, multi-tenancy, and public, private, and cloud deployment models. TestOut has numerous text lessons, hands-on labs, and other resources in order to help students understand the differences between on-premise and cloud and the benefit of each deployment model. As the world continues to move farther into wireless communications, CompTIA has expanded and updated their wireless technology standards. This includes Wi-Fi 6, which is the new Wi-Fi technology standards that support higher speeds. This objective also includes cellular data with 3G, 4G, 5G, and LTE communications methods for businesses who operate out in the field and not near a wireless router. CompTIA has emphasized security in all of their new exams, and Network Plus is no different. TestOut covers networking attacks, including malware and rogue DHCPs. We also cover risk management in order to teach students how to identify, assess, and control threats to their organization. TestOut has put together a list of learning resources that will help you and your students learn about networking in the classroom. This includes 14 chapters, over 130 text lessons, over 1,000 quiz questions, 100 demonstrations, or 80 quizzes, hands-on labs, and other resources in order to help everybody achieve their goals. Now let's hear from Craig Russin, who will take you on an in-depth tour of Network Pro, making sure to give you an introductory look at the resources that we've already talked about.
Thanks, Ian. Now we're going to jump into the new Network Pro content. Let's give you a tour. So I'm logged in and I can see we have 14 chapters of content here. If I click on any one of these chapters, to the right appear several different sections and learning activities that your students will go through. For our demo today, we're going to use Chapter 5 with Ethernet. In this chapter, let's go to this section on troubleshoot physical connectivity. You can see we have different icons here that represent different learning activities. The first icon represents a video. So we have video tutorials and we have video demonstrations to learn the concepts and also see actual tasks working on hardware or software or whatnot for the course. Also, you'll see the next icon is a text lesson. Instead of flipping through pages in your traditional textbook, you have it here on the screen. The next new icon in the list is the computer mouse icon. You can see we have several of them in this section, and then we have a section quiz at the end. You notice that other sections have different numbers of the activities. Let's go through section 5.3 here, clicking on the section heading, and I'll sample all of these for you, focusing more on the lab side of things. When I click on the section heading, I can see questions I'll be able to answer after I've gone through the section, topics, key topics that will be addressed, and then definitions that will be learned throughout the material in this section, and then certification objectives that are being addressed in this section as well. Now, I could go to the main outline to navigate to the next section, but we have these really convenient arrows on the far left and the far right that take you up or down through the outline of content. So let's click on the right arrow. Here's a video tutorial. I'm going to skip past this, but we'll address a video in a moment. This is a text lesson. So again, replacing your textbook, we've taken what would be in that textbook and we put it here in our interface. So there's no need for an outside supporting textbook. Instructors like these because they're very concise, and students sometimes love to use these as study guides for their course as well. Now, students can come in and actually copy this text to clipboard, or they can choose to print it out. Moving on, clicking on the right arrow, let's launch this video. I can start this in standard mode or interactive. Let's start it in standard mode. When we launch the videos, you'll notice that we have an instructor. We have different instructors in different videos, but these are not designed to be talking head videos. Rather, they have animations, moving parts. They're very visually engaging for the learner. Some instructors say, I love to have these. I'll play a portion of it in front of my students, and then we'll launch into a discussion. Others say, I love to have the students watch the whole video. Or, and again, others say, you know what, these are a supplement to my lectures. This is a tool for you to use, so utilize it how your teaching preference best fit utilizing these type of resources. In the bottom, though, on the bottom right, I have closed captioning, so I can pause the video, and then on the right, I can see tools that will help me out in managing closed captioning as a student. As for example, let's say I want a font that's in dyslexia font. I can go to a larger size, change the color to red, and maybe the background blue based on the visual need I have. Students get to massage this based on their preferences. I'm going to go ahead and reset this back to default. On the bottom, I also have the ability to change the speed of the audio. Some students like to have 0.8 speed, maybe English is their second language, or others like to go 1.2 like I do. I love this tool called Interactive Script. When I click on that, it moves the video to the side, and then to the right, I can see verbatim text of what's being said in the video. I can also scroll down, and wherever I click within the paragraphs here, it jumps to that location in the video. Let's kind of jump around here. Also, we have, going back over to the tools here, I can choose to go to full screen as well. If I'm at home on the laptop, this is a great way to maximize my screen size. I'm going to hit escape to shrink that down. Let's click on the far right arrow now to move on. Here's another text lesson. And then I'm taking to a lab. I'm actually going to go to the second lab here, and we'll launch this together. When we get to the labs, we'll read through the lab scenario. And the preceding content has taught the student everything they need to know in order to be able to perform this lab successfully. Let's go ahead and scroll to the bottom of the scenario here, where you'll find the Start Lab button. So as this lab loads up, I want to point out that in the background, the lab will keep track of everything that I perform and actually grade me based on that performance. That grade can also tie into your learning management system. So whether it be Blackboard, Canvas, Brightspace, Moodle, or other LTI-compatible learning management systems, we can have full single sign-on and grade return. Also, once this lab is done loading, the scenario for the lab will reappear on the left-hand side. And when I declare that I'm done, well, I get that immediate feedback. Instead of having to send a screenshot to an instructor, it's automatic. And there's a lot of power in that. You're also going to notice in this lab that there's a lot of devices, a variety of types of tools, whether it be hardware and or software that I can interact with through this lab experience. So the scenario has reappeared on the left-hand side, and I have this environment that I can navigate through. So the scenario is, in this lab, we're going to explore different methods of troubleshooting network communication problems caused by a loss of power in the networking closet. So I can go and actually select a view of the respective hardware or software in these different office locations. Let's go ahead. When I click on hardware view here in the networking closet, then it's going to take me into the networking closet, and I can actually work with the hardware. I can patch cables, which you'll see in a moment. I can go into the servers and actually interact with the server software. So it's a very powerful environment that we're jumping into now. So on the left-hand side, I have different cables that I can, if I click on the shelf here, that might help me in different lab scenarios. Not for this particular scenario I'm in, but real to life, we have some different items here. Different labs are going to have different environments that your students will navigate through. On the upper right-hand corner, I have answer questions. Some labs solely based on performance, others have me answer questions. This particular lab has me doing both. So I'm going to answer and go through part of this lab experience. The first question is, select the correct order of servers top to bottom. Well, I can kind of see top to bottom. Let's go ahead and click on them here in the actual server rack. When I do, they highlight, and at the bottom, it tells me or gives me a description. So this is Corp server. So more than likely, the answers are probably already going to be the first one. So we'll click on the second one here. At the bottom, I see that's Corp I SCSI. So Corp server and the Corp I SCSI. I already know that'll be it, but let's go ahead and click on the last server. And then at the bottom, I see is Corp data. So answer is the first item here. Then we're invited in our scenario on the left-hand side to actually select these cables. So if I click on a cable here, it highlights, and I can click and drag and let go of the cable. And our scenario actually has this doing this for both of the cables. So let's go ahead and let go and grab the next cable here. So when I do that, highlights, and I can click and drag and let go of that as well. So once the cables are disconnected, the scenario is saying on the right-hand side, as a result of unplugging the UPSs, which changes are evident? Select all that apply. I'm going to go ahead and skip past this task for time's sake. Let's move on to the next one. Why do Corp Server and its monitor still have power? Well, let's go ahead and hide the questions here. So I have Corp Server and the monitor still have power even though I unplugged those cables. Let's go to the back view of our monitor and select the power cable on the back of the monitor. And when I do, it shows me where the other end of the cable is. And I can scroll in with my mouse for a better view. So I can see that this is a backup UPS power supply. So that's why my monitor is still up and running. I'm going to scroll back out a little bit here. The next part is, why is Corp Server? So I'll click on Corp Server here. Let's go to the front view of Corp Server. So I can toggle between the views here at the top. And let's go ahead and scroll in. So I need to click on front. Sorry, I'm clicking on front. I should be clicking on back. So when I do that, then it's going to show me the back and the cables associated with Corp Server. So here's the cable. When I click on the cable for Corp Server, you'll notice that it will highlight, and then the other end is down here as well. So I can scroll with my mouse to zoom in, and I can see that the power source for this is, it's because it's plugged into the critical load bank. Hence, that's why the server still has power, and we found out why the monitor still has power as well. Let's scroll out a little bit and go to the front view on my monitor here. Actually, we need to answer questions. So let's go to the right, and it says, why do Corp Server and its monitor still have power? Well, they are plugged into the critical load bank or battery backup section of the UPS. So I'll select that as my answer. Now we're actually asked to go into Corp Server. So I can click on the monitor for Corp Server here. So click on that, and it's going to take me into server. Let's go ahead and hide our questions for the time being here. And we're asked to run a ping test on these different IP addresses. So let's go to the bottom left here, right click and select Windows PowerShell Admin. And let's run a ping test. So ping 192.168.0.30, enter. 100% loss. Let's do ping on the second one, 198.28.56.1, enter. That has 100% loss as well. And then we'll do the third one, ping 163.128.80.93, hit enter. And that also has 100% loss. So let's go over and answer our questions. Really, the question was, which of the following ping tests were successful? We can say none of them were. Now, there's other tasks that I need to accomplish here as well. For time's sake, I'm not going to go through them. So let's go ahead and click on Score Lab in the bottom right. It's notifying me I've not completed everything. I know that, but let's go ahead and score anyways. When I score the lab, it's automatically going to grade the lab for me. So I get immediate feedback, 3 out of 6, a 50% grade on this lab. If I've integrated with the learning management system, that grade's carried over. Otherwise, the grade is stored within TestOut's interface, and you can view real-time progress as well there. I can see that I answered the first question right. The second one we just skipped. And then the third and fourth question of the task I answered right, and I did not complete the rest of the tasks as well. If I got something wrong, though, I do have expert steps here that I can use as remediation help for my learning. So when I go ahead and close out of this lab, I can relaunch the lab and do it over and over again. That's an important part of my formative learning. Let's go ahead and click on the right arrow to move on. Here's another lab, and I'm going to skip through a series of different labs because there's quite a bit of labs in this particular section. But what I want to do is get to the practice questions or the quiz at the end. And these vary in length, 5 to 20 questions, sometimes drag and drop, but typically multiple choice questions. I'm going to go ahead and start this exam. And this will give me a series of questions to answer based on what I've learned in the section. So I can go ahead and check an item and check my answer. and I can see what I guessed and what the correct answer is. I'm also given a description of why the correct answer is correct and is appropriate, why the incorrect answer is not correct. I can click through, and for time's sake, I'm not going to go through all the questions here. Let's just go ahead and answer a couple, and hopefully I get one right. Maybe it's my lucky day. Let's go ahead and X out to score this, and we'll see how well I did. Now, like in the labs, these also generate a score that also carries over to a LMS, or you can use our own grading system to see the results for these. Students can go in and check their questions and see what the correct answers were and what they should have answered. They also can click on the link that takes them to learn more about this topic if they need additional supporting help. So that's an example of a complete section we just went through. So let's go back to the outline view. So we went and saw a video tutorial, demonstrations. We saw a text lesson. We went through this lab right here, the second lab, and then we saw a section quiz. That's a good feel for you of the type of learning resources that we make available. After the student's gone through all the content here, we also include full-blown certification exam prep. So let's go to CompTIA N10008, the new exam prep for the new exam. And I can go through questions by domain, and I can do them chunks. Now, these are large chunks of questions. Some of these domains have over 200 questions. Or I can break them out into chunks of 20. I also have some FAQs and hints and tips and helps for me as I prepare to take the industry certification exam. And then we have a mock exam here, which if I were to launch, it pulls up 100 or 90 questions, gives me an hour and 30 minutes to take them, just like the CompTIA exam. So I'll have drag and drop, place an order, fill in the blanks, basic labs, and multiple choice questions in my question pool. Primarily multiple choice, similar to a CompTIA exam, how that would be. If I'm scoring 90% or better consistently in these, I should feel confident to go and do well in the live CompTIA exam. I also want to point out in the outline here, not only do we prepare the learner for the CompTIA Network Plus exam, but we also have exam prep included for the TestOut Network Pro exam. The TestOut Network Pro certification exam is different from CompTIA's exam in that it covers more of a performance-based environment. So it's all labs, whereas CompTIA's exam is heavy on multiple choice. Network Pro is all labs, and you can proctor the exam yourself as an instructor. Many instructors love to use the Network Pro exam as a practical portion of their final for their course. So this is practice for that through our interface, or even as a link that you can, through our interface that can connect with your learning management system. You can have one click and your students are taking a certification exam for TestOut Network Pro. There's no additional cost for your students to take this exam because that one attempt is included with your student access. Now let's go ahead and jump over and talk about some instructor tools. I've gone through the course content, the tools here, but there's other resources that are specific for you as an instructor, whereas what I've shown you thus far, this is the view that your students will have as they navigate through the content. So let's go back over and click on my home icon, and then my campuses. So in this area, we have this powerful tool called custom exams. This is an area where you can create your own assessments, pulling from TestOut's large bank of questions. And what's unique here is you can also use our labs as questions in your own assessments. So imagine a pop quiz with a lab as one of the questions. It's really a powerful tool. When you create a custom exam in this interface, let's say you're in Canvas or Moodle or whatever your learning management system is, you can find that custom exam there and create a link. So one click in your LMS and students are taking the exam. Also, you can proctor TestOut certification exams in this area here at the top. In addition to launching or scheduling exams for students here, if you're using an LMS, it's easier to go in through Canvas, Brightspace, Moodle, or others and launch that exam there. I want to also go back over to my products here. This shows Network Pro. This is our older 5.0 version, and then we were previewing today the pre-release version of Network Pro 6.0 covering the newer objectives. As I mentioned before, this new content will release on December 7th. Here, though, I have an area called Teaching Aids. And this has a lot of powerful tools to support you as an instructor using TestOut content. So here I can find instructor PowerPoints where we have a slide deck for every section, course outlines, lesson plans, a number of tools that will help you out as you're teaching. I really believe that this area or piece called the course pacing guide is a powerful tool that allows you to organize time expectations for your course. Instructors that have checked this out have come back and said that saved me a ton of time. So I encourage you to check out the course pacing guide. Thanks for joining me in this demo of TestOut Network Pro. I invite you to reach out to us and let us know if you would like to get complimentary instructor access. This is a great opportunity for you to explore a fit and make sure it makes sense for you and your students. It's made such a difference for the success of so many programs for students in both their academic pursuits and especially toward their careers. We're now going to jump into the Q&A portion of our session, and I'll be addressing those questions. A number of questions have come in. The first question is, I use Canvas. How easy is it to get this integrated? As you heard during the session, integration with Canvas, Moodle, Brightspace, other learning management systems is very popular, and we have an excellent setup for that. It typically takes an instructor around an hour, maybe a little less than that, to set up their course. We also offer implementation help. So if an instructor wants help to make sure they have things set up right, our team's happy to help in that way as well. Next question, how do TestOut labs compare to virtual machine labs? Well, there's a couple key areas where they're different. First of all, you've noticed in TestOut labs, lab access is quick. It takes seconds instead of minutes to access TestOut lab experiences for your students. Also, TestOut labs involve not only software, but hardware and a wide variety of resources. In one lab, as we saw earlier today in this session, the learner can go in and actually patch cables on a server rack. They can then go into Kali Linux, into Server or Windows 10, and all of that is all integrated together, communicating with each other, and it allows for automation of grading. So that's another area where it's really critical. A number of institutions have to grade by screenshot. With TestOut, you don't have to do that. In fact, not only do we grade automatically for you, but we also provide some remediation or help so students can identify expert steps that should be taken to complete the lab correctly. Also, it's very easy to pull up the labs. There's no installation. I've heard instructors before say that, well, my students spend more time downloading the lab than they actually spend running the lab itself. Also, the maintenance time that it takes for virtual machines can be extensive and is very involved for the instructor. Our content is readily available at your students' fingertips. They can be wherever at home on a PC, Mac, a Chromebook, or different devices, and there's no local installation requirements. That's just to name a few advantages that TestOut labs have over the virtual machine labs. Next question. Can I see details on what my students are doing when using Network Pro? Yes. There's a couple different ways that this works. First of all, if we integrate with your LMS, you have single sign-on and full grade return. However, you also have advantage of using TestOut's interface, where you can see granular details of what they're doing. For example, if they perform the lab, you can see how many times they've run the lab. Students can, you can see time overall, how many attempts, high score, low score, all sorts of details are available through varying different reports that we make available for you. So again, you can use the best worlds of TestOut's reporting tools, which get more granular than also using the learning management system tools that you already have. Question, can I have someone demo for our department? Yes, we're more than happy to demo for your department. Just let us know what timing works best for you. If you're unsure who your contacts are, just reach out to TestOut and we can get you to the right people. And we're happy to host that demo. In fact, provide full and complimentary access for your faculty. Another question about, we answered that. Okay, can I get help setting up my course with Network Pro in Brightspace? Again, yes, we have an implementation team. So when you're ready to do that, we can get on the line and make sure that all the links and everything's all set up. Address any questions you have. Just give us word when the timing's right for you. How do I get access to the new content? Following my comments here is a link that you can click on, or actually a question, a little question that you can answer asking if you want access. Just respond to that. If you're seeing the recording of this session, then just go to testout.com and you can request instructor access there. Instructor access is complimentary. Right now, it's the newer version of Network Pro is in beta form. On December 7th, 2021, it will go to full form, and that will automatically update for anybody that already has access to Network Pro. What other topics, this is the next question, what other topics do you have resources for? Thinking of my other courses. For this, I actually want to go and pull up an image on the screen. So bear with me while I move that over. So this is a list of TestOut courseware titles. You can see we cover Microsoft Office, IT Fundamentals, which covers CompTIA IT Fundamentals. You'll notice TestOut's naming convention, we have Pro in the name of our courseware, and then you can see the other industry certifications for which we prepare the learner. So PC Pro, Network Pro, Client, Linux, Security, Cyber Defense, Ethical Hacker, Routing and Switching, and different server titles. We also have newly released, which is not yet on this document here, but is available. We have TestOut Pro Certified Microsoft Excel, so new content covering advanced or expert level Excel. Part of the free access that we provide for instructors to check out our materials to provide access to any of these titles. So just let us know what you would like to have access for. Those are the questions that we have. So that's the end of the Q&A and the end of our session today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We look forward to an opportunity to work with you to help make a difference toward the success of your students. Thank you.